All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Lynn and
Dr. Sam
with Wild and Precious Optimal Living's radio show, and we are super excited today to be doing the show together, and we actually have a surprise guest, Henry Archuleta, our KUHS producer here, to be able to join us shortly. And today we want to be able to talk more of what is really relevant, and especially for the month of July, which is Social Wellness Awareness Month. And so right now we're in times of the pandemic still, and Governor Polis went on live yesterday and talked about, yes, Colorado is open for us to be able to still enjoy recreational activities, outdoors, camping, summertime. However, it's that mindfulness of still being conscious about how we're gathering outside, how we are spending time together.
And as always, our show is brought to you by our practice.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that's right.
Wild and Precious Optimal Living. We are a family-based, neurologically focused chiropractic office located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. So again, our show is sponsored by our practice. We're here trying to share this message out to the world. I just wanted to get that in there for those that maybe are first-time listeners that are jumping on. Maybe you haven't heard of us before, and hey, who are these doctors? What do they do? So, if you're a parent jumping on, you're in the local Denver metro area, and you have a kid that's struggling with either ADHD, autism, sensory processing, and you're looking for hope, you're looking for answers, you're looking for solutions that are not pharmaceutically based, then I invite you, check out our practice. Give us a call, 720-667-3650. Sorry, Dr. Lynn, just wanted to get that in.
Oh, no, that's perfect. I got super excited. And just to tack on to what Dr. Sam's saying, the purpose of the radio show is to be able to share resources, to have conversations that perhaps you would bring into your own personal life as well too, about resources that helps to increase the resilience in your brain, your body, and your emotional health. And so, coming back to social wellness, obviously that is very much a brain, body, and emotional component in all three. And our hopes is to be able to touch upon a little of everything. It's great to be able to have the both of us together. For those of you who join on the show or new or who've been listeners, Dr. Sam, I'd like to describe him as the mindset, or actually, no, the brain geek.
I'm more of like the brain nerd in the practice.
Yes.
And, as we like to lovingly joke, I'm the precious one of our duo. She's the wild one.
The wild. Obviously, you can't tell. But yes, for me, it's about mindset and movement. And so for me, I'm a very kinesthetic person, and I think we have a lot of fun. It's a good complement with each other. So.
Which is why we got married.
So with that said, today, Social Wellness Month.
Yeah, jump back in. You were mentioning, because I did not catch what our governor said. What was Governor Polis talking about yesterday with some of the changes happening in Colorado now?
So he was just giving an update with just how during the summertime, we usually, Red Rocks, we love to have, films on the rocks, I think, and there's yoga in the parks, and usually there's concerts that we love going to, but now this summer it's obviously very different. We don't have festivals to go to. It's, it's very limited, and it's a challenge, and he was just addressing how, he recognizes that it's a challenge for all of us. During summer times, it's about party time, and at the same time, it's even more necessary to be mindful about social distancing. And while parks are still open for us to still go out and engage and enjoy ourselves, or we can still gather in limited numbers of 4 or less, it's about having that mindfulness and still encouraging us to stay home if possible. So, the reality is, we have people who are out and about. Obviously, Dr. Sam and I are in a station here, and we practice. We see practice members every single day of the week. And then there are a lot of our peers and friends that are still also more comfortable being able to stay at home, working from home, still doing a lot of activities from home, and there's a whole gamut. So we're not jumping into necessarily the politics of it, right? But it's more about where's everybody at mental, emotionally, in terms of how we're socially still staying active, because social wellness is really important to our brain health, our body health, and emotional health. So a little bit more about social wellness. What is that? social wellness, when we think about social, it's about engagement, right? Or how we're connected to the community, the relationships we have, from interpersonal with family members, to our friends, to our neighbors, to even our businesses. And oh my gosh, what are you doing here?
You said I could come and play.
Yes, we
You
did
said
say
I could
that.
come and
We
play.
invite, yes, that's
I
fine.
want to come and play, right? Sam said I can come over and play.
That's right. I want Henry to come over.
Yes, because she's not getting out of hand, you know.
Right. It's hard to control my blabbermouth.
And social, what is this called? Social wellness?
Wellness.
Yeah, social wellness.
And, I mean, you started off so well.
Yeah.
Kind of give me a little bit insight of what social wellness
Yeah.
really means.
Yeah, sure. So social wellness is really about how we use our relationships in our lives to either proactively support our growth, mentally, emotionally, and physically, or maybe it's the other perspective too, in terms of relationships that can maybe even break us down. And then there's also, when we think about wellness, it's about taking proactive steps to ensure our own health and well-being as well too. Are you in the camera?
Oh, yeah, I know. I made sure I put the cameras way back.
We need to see your handsome face too. That's right. By the way, he has an amazing shirt on. I am your father.
I am your father. I'm sure you've seen the movie.
Once or twice.
10 times.
I don't know. It's
Star Wars.
Star Wars, never heard of it.
Never heard of
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Now, you know, you talk about social wellness, and things are getting really crazy now. People are walking around, you know, with their masks on and everything. I was in King Supers the other day. I had my mask on. We're coming up to this aisle, you know, we're looking at all this stuff, and there's a female standing there, and all of a sudden her mask fell off. She goes, "Oops, that's like my boobie falling out." Right?
That's true. People are
But
more
they-
conscious about
Yeah,
that.
they're real conscious about it. She like,
Mhm.
I started laughing. I said, "Oh my God, you didn't really say that, did you?"
Yeah.
But she did.
So did she say it's like my boobie fell? Or
No,
you just
no,
noticed
her
that?
face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a
It's
weird
true.
social, it's such
Yeah,
a weird
like if
social
you're-
faux pas now. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
like
oh my
if-
gosh, my
Yeah.
face is exposed.
Yes.
And it's,
Yes.
yeah, it's a really
She goes,
weird.
"That's almost like my boobie fell out."
Right.
I go,
Yeah.
"Did you just say that?" She goes, "Uh-huh."
Yeah, it's such a weird paradigm to have
Yeah.
that flipped now, because I mean, think about, never, I'm like in the history of our country, have we had an issue where it's covering the face.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't ever have that, and now it's
Only when I used to rob the banks, you know, after I got out of prison.
Of course.
It was pretty easy back then.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
But
but
now,
now-
I mean, banks are closed up, so you can't even go inside and do that. You got to get it through the window.
Right, and my ankle bracelet on this one has
Uh-huh.
been hurt real bad. But
Yeah.
things are back into normal.
Good.
And social wellness, I always think, humor. There's gotta be humor.
That's
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And that's all
yes.
part of it. And social wellness incorporates a lot of humor, I think. And you got to be humorous, happy, just be happy with your life and live, no matter what's going on. I mean, like I said, they're doing the muzzle thing. I call it a muzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even hug. And a lot of people are hugging people. Hugs are part of life. That's a wellness in itself.
Big time.
For how long you hug, you know.
Right.
And so I'm sure you go through this a lot with some of the people that you're in your practice.
Yeah.
They don't even touch at home. Huh?
Yeah.
Something wrong with this picture, right?
Yeah.
Big time. Well, I mean, it always takes me back to one of my mentors in school who, he always started off when he had his seminars on a study of doctors working with mice that had cancer. And what they would do is just literally touch the mice. They'd pick them up and just pet them for 5 minutes a day. And that was it. That's all they did, nothing else. But just touching the mice and picking them up, they showed a decrease in the actual cancer that was expressed in the mice. And it's like, we have to touch. We have to physically touch other people and hug and everything because we're social beings, and that's what
Right.
It's not just about touch too. It's about being able to see the
Face.
facial expressions.
Yeah,
If we think
smile,
about
like,
Yeah.
you know, you're not fully dressed unless you're wearing your smile.
Yep.
yeah, that's true.
And
And
that
then
was-
if we think about actually cognitive brain development as well too.
And mine's been kind of
We can work on that.
Come see me in the office, we'll help you, Henry.
We'll set up a time after.
I do
the
have
show.
hammers there. Put your hands on the boom. That'll help me out quite a bit.
Well, what's really fascinating is for babies, with our brain development, the first thing that starts to develop is nonverbal cues first before verbal cues. That babies, as their brain is developing, they rely on nonverbal cues. When we think about nonverbal, it's about gestures, it's about our facial expressions. And so, part of it is there, with when we're not able to see each other's faces, especially for kiddos, there's a limitation in terms of how they're interpreting, and this may be different. It's perhaps people at home, their masks are off, so there's interaction. It's mainly if we're going out, then there isn't, but it's just more the idea that when we rely on these nonverbal cues, facial expressions, there's a social component to that as well too.
And now that you're saying that, like, back to the same thing, I'm at the store, and this gal was joking because she went to go put the change in my hand, and she looked the other way and dropped it on the side, and I go, "You missed." And I smile. She goes, "I'm smiling at you because, I have a mask." And she goes, "I can tell by your eyes."
Oh, that's
and
true.
I guess your eyes, because you're smiling.
Right.
I go, "I wasn't smiling, I was pissed." No.
Drop the change.
Yeah, what the hell?
That's true.
But she says she can see by my eyes, and that's true. Your facial expression and how you conduct yourself in everyday life, that social wellness has a lot to do with a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love social wellness. That's one thing I practice,
Yeah.
I like the daily hugs in my house. I says, even my granddaughters, whoever, I always say, "Daily hugs, come on." And they get all happy. They're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And they give them a big old long hug. Oh, and they like it because longer hugs reduces the stress.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
before you know it, they're all happy and running around, laughing and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we think about when we first had Rivers, who's 3 now, they talk about how it's important to have skin-to-skin contact, that warmth, that translation that you have in terms of energy and blanking out on the hormone.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin. That's
and
right.
I use that a lot.
Yes.
I've got a big bottle of it, and I.
We just take it by shots in the morning. So, okay.
Every time I run in the morning, I just get loaded up with that. I say, "Ooh, boy, that felt great."
Well, that's
It
a
hits
shot
you.
of oxytocin from your granddaughter's hugs.
The Jack Daniels comes later.
You spotted it in the other room.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy,
So, yeah, and I think the most important aspect is the verbal, and then also being able to have the contact, the hugs in the mornings. I think we really thrive on hugs. When I feel stressed,
Yes.
I always look for Dr. Sam. He's like my teddy bear.
Look at him eating that all that's social wellness all the way. Look at him. God, the new book by Sam McDonald, Dr. Sam McDonald, Social Wellness. The hugs are heavy.
That's right. Rule number 1: hug every day.
Hug every day.
Well, think about how much nonverbal communication there is, right?
Yes.
I mean, how easy is it for you to tell when your wife's angry at you?
And
come
you
home,
hug her.
I
and
told you what I do.
She's just got her arms crossed.
No, I
Say a
told
word.
you there's a gimmick to that one.
That's true. Right. We talked
You're
about
talking to one with a lot of
that. That's
experience.
why we brought you in here. You're the
Yes.
sage wizard over here.
Yeah, that's why. Exactly.
When she starts getting really upset, you know what I do? Oh, that really turns me on, baby. That stops immediately. No more pissed off. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
So you can fix that. There's methods to madness,
Absolutely.
Sam has this similar where I'm doing something and he's like, I'm like,
That's right. Sam, okay, Sam.
No.
Oh, Sam. That's social wellness. The doctors are teaching us social wellness.
Well, that's private wellness.
Private wellness.
Social.
Well, it's just so
No, but that's,
what are they doing out there in public? Look at them. They're at McDonald's.
The
yeah.
aspects, but that brings up a component. There's different aspects of social wellness, right? So there's interpersonal relationship that you have with your partner. Then there's also social wellness in terms of what that looks like with your kids, your grandkids, and then there's also social wellness with how it looks with your
Neighbors.
neighbors.
Hey, I got
And how-
one.
Yeah.
I can share this with you. Okay,
Great.
the other day, my neighbor likes to drink, right? He comes home all drunk and he's pounding on the door, trying to get in the house. I guess he forgot his keys, whatever. I did him a favor. I went across the street and told him, they're not here, so he left.
Yeah. So,
Did you get the joke or
no,
not?
I didn't. I'm just laughing because I'm like, what? Wait.
Did you get
I'm
it?
slow with the jokes.
He's pounding at his own door.
Oh, okay.
I went across the street and told him they're not here.
Okay.
Welcome to my life.
This
I
is
tell
great.
a joke.
It's a brain imbalance. Trust me, it's a brain imbalance.
Well, me and Sam, we see eye to eye.
I pick up what you're putting down right there. I got it.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Sam. You saved me.
I know.
That was like a dud. It went right. Boom. It was almost like fireworks in 4th of July. What happened? You go out there, try to check it out, boom, right in your face.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Oh, I feel like a lot of ladies do understand maybe my position that I feel like sometimes jokes just go over and maybe.
Let's tell a lady joke. Social wellness. Let's
Sure.
hear it.
Go for it. What you got?
Back to social wellness.
Go on, Dr. Lynn.
Right?
I'm sorry for being so rude and obnoxious.
No,
I know
you're
social
not.
wellness. No, you're not. Shame, but
Shh. Oh, so as you can see, the reason why we brought, Henry on, he's a character.
Absolutely.
No, but just being one of the reasons why we invited Henry, we invited you on, is because, we've been working together for about 2 or 3 months on the show. 2 months. It goes by really fast. And one thing that we come in, and every single time Henry always has a great story to share, as you could probably tell from just listening to him. And then the other aspect too is just how you are so active in the community. You've had, you share so many different roles of, like, at one point of his life he was a ninja and a secret spy, all sorts of different things, right?
a Navy SEAL too.
Oh yeah, there you go. Don't mess with him.
And Sam talked about that. We kind of have
Yeah. So.
He said he can't talk about it on there.
Don't give anything away. So, but just Henry. I mean, we're jumping into it pretty quickly, but it's just like
I'm not going to tell you that story. That's very personal.
But you always have a smile. And
Yes.
even during times of challenges right now, and the reality is there are people who some people that I've been coaching who right now they've lost the reality is some people have lost jobs. They're having to redefine their career after in their 50s, and job searching has not been easy, and they may feel like they're starting to feel really depressed, where they're sleeping later into the day, and there's that sense of purposeless, lack of purpose, and at the same time there's a sense of pride that's being lost too. So there's people that are really struggling, and I feel like we've all been very fortunate during this time. And so for you, Henry, I'm just curious, like, your own story of how you and your wife, sharing my personal story of my parents, like, racially and through the pandemic, they don't go out very much, and that's their self-care right now, is just to stay at home and making sure everybody's safe, and that's really good. But it's also about how do they still stay socially engaged. So how are you doing that? Because I think you and my dad are about the same age. Like, you're okay.
Like,
Sorry.
no, you're silly. You, my dad, are
like 100. No.
Like 150.
You know how I stay looking so good at 150. Sam knows the reason why I know. Well, dating back to when I was younger, we were very poor and stuff, but my mom and dad showed me how you can live happy with very little.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always used that all through my life. So what's going on right now, a lot of people, success and wealth and all this is embedded in everybody's minds. And so they go out and they get a real good education, get a real good job, get paid all this money, and all of a sudden this happens. Now they have nothing to turn to. They've never been through this. Lose their job, lose their house, lose their business, lose everything. They don't know how to be poor. With me, you can't hurt me. I've already been there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I know how to go hunt a mouse and, fry them up and stuff if you have to.
Right.
Go get a wild turkey, and there's some over by me. I know where they're at.
There we go.
Everybody looking around, so you got to be prepared. And that's real.
Yeah.
If you have to, you go with what you got. And that's all there is to it. So rabbits are out there if you need to eat a rabbit. And you laugh. Everybody laughs, but in the reality, if it came to that, lots of people will know how to do that.
No clue.
And no clue. I put that up, I was just joking one time, and 3 women got up there and says, I can prep all that stuff for you if you want me to. Oh no, you're not getting my food. And it's like, there's women who know how to live like this. And in New Mexico, we used to go to New Mexico, and we'd go to my aunt's little ranch there, and she had the pigs, the chickens, she had everything there, and they said, let's go get the eggs. I go, where's the little store around here? No, from the chicken coop. So you go get the eggs, and you prepare the eggs. You got a little tiny pig, slaughtered him right there, chopped him up. There's your bacon. So there's ways to live. I mean, they didn't have jobs or nothing, but they had their ranch. They sold their cows. made money. So if you try to live like that nowadays, you can't, because everything is based on financial well-being. It's all finance. It's all economics. That's it.
Well, I think you also bring in a really good point where you talked about very much everything's hands-on. You want your own food on the meal, you have to grow it. You have to
Make it.
You
And I
have
always
to
plant me a garden too, but this
Yeah.
year I didn't. I usually plant a garden.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest barriers to social wellness, potentially a root of it, is perhaps you talk about money,
Yeah.
you know, in the industrial, like, modern life, but the other aspect is also technology.
Yes.
Where everything's convenient, everything's been automated, everything's taken care of, but we have more access to Netflix and Hulu and.
You do, but I don't.
Oh, okay, well, so TV, but you know,
What
so.
do you watch on Netflix, Sam?
We barely watch Netflix. That's
And
the
you
funny thing.
subscribe to it.
Yeah.
And you barely watch it.
I
That's the funny
mean,
part.
Okay.
if I can
I'm gonna-
admit, for me, I like to watch my
No,
K-pop.
no. This is going to stop right now. We're going to get you a budget right now.
He's really good about it, but I like my K.
No, you're
Korean
not.
drama.
Lynn, it stops today, okay? So she's talking about social wellness. Number one, her budget.
Her budget. I have a question for you, though, kind of jumping back.
Yeah,
to-
I'm just playing.
No, I know.
Don't worry, I'm not really, just look at me, Sam, don't you dare. Don't you dare, Sam.
I'm in the
This is
middle of a
social
show
wellness.
right now.
No, I'm curious though, because like Lynn
Yeah.
brought up, you know, every time we come in on Fridays, it's like, hey, we jump to the back, and Henry's always got a joke lined up, ready to go. He's always got like, you know,
A
his
joke.
He's fast.
He is. He's always got. He's got the party hat on because he's a constant riot 24/7. So I mean, I'm curious because it's been hard times for a lot of people.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm sure you, like everybody else, have faced some kind of hardship through this. So how have you been able to keep that smile on your face and navigate through all that's happening?
Well, here's what's interesting. I've been in the computer business
Uh-huh.
for 23 years.
Yeah.
The computer business can survive anything, even an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
They'll come to you, we just got hit with the atomic bomb, we need our computers fixed, we can't talk. Okay, that's big.
Yeah.
It's constant, it just takes a new face.
Mm-hmm.
And in this pandemic thing, it's like, okay, we need you to come and set us up at home, do this, do that. All of a sudden we have this whole new bit of services that we got to recalculate, recalibrate, reset up, and there it is again. Lots of it.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of work. And then you could do remotes. You could remote into them. You can, but when you have to think, okay, I'll just bring my own keyboard, mouse, plug in. I won't touch none of your stuff. I'll have a mask on. Leave the door open. I'll walk in. I'll take care of it. I'll leave. I'll remotely bill you. And you got all these remote billing services. So that's
Yeah.
a quick way of doing things.
Mhm.
This facility here is because this is essential. We're a media outlet. We're just like any other media outlet. We still put out the word, the news, and we're very community oriented, as you can tell.
Big time.
Yeah.
Extreme. And so we
Yeah.
hit the community. And so with that, the community comes back to us and says, we need this, we need that. We need, sure.
Mhm.
And then from that just brings us more wealth.
Mhm.
And speaking of which, for community, I mean, you were just in the back, you know, brainstorming some
And we're
big
playing
things.
around with
actually.
you, you know. You
Yeah.
walk back there, we're just playing. It looks like we're playing around, but actually we're doing some.
Yeah, you guys are planning some big things. You
Big
talked
things,
about
uh-huh.
a summit that's coming up. So give
Mhm.
an example for our audience in terms of like, what is that like? How are you serving the community from even behind, you know, the computer and doing all these different things and like.
Well, we start brainstorming. It just comes automatically because of the wealth of people that we know, our connections, our all the. I mean, Charlie alone, you know, retired Air Force man, and PTSD. He had tough times. He sank down. He recovered and got around all these people with doctorate degrees who helped him survive. He went back to school, got his master's degree. Then I heard him come on Dr. Lowell's show, and from there I thought, God, I seen something in him. It was incredible. So I says, okay, you want to have your own show, Charlie? Huh? Just like you guys did, because you see something,
Right.
and it's viable. And so he got his own show going. It's just morphed a giant size. It's bigger than we ever thought.
Wow.
And sometimes he wouldn't have a guest. He says, Henry, I don't have nobody for tomorrow. So I got him this one guest from, it was a Bronco dude. His name is Orange Bader. He's big with the Broncos. And just in one day of advertising, had 2,600 people watching, and more and more and more coming on. His story is great too, because his was just a Halloween costume kind of thing, and it turned into this big, huge, something so big it's like he can't even believe it. And his wife started something too, and hers morphed out big, and so something special happened for those two individuals. Well, for Charlie, as he's kept moving forward, he's now gotten patched in with some other individuals that want to have a 10-series show about PTSD, about recovery, about COVID, and all the issues that are facing all the veterans in the world and across the nation, across the world. And because we're an international broadcaster, we can reach everybody. So he's doing a 10-part series, 10 shows straight in a row with some big names. There's some big names in there. So I says, Charlie, if you land this one and this one, well, it's over with.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think, you know, just even from what you're sharing, and I'm learning a lot, is, you know, during times like these, it's finding a purpose and consistently showing up and building purpose behind it.
Consistency is.
Yeah, it is. And I think when we first started, your biggest thing is just keep coming back, keep doing this, you know, keep showing up, even though you might feel like you botched up that last show. Henry's always, for me, I feel like I do a show and then he's like, I get done, and honestly, I was just like, oh my gosh, that was terrible.
In
and
your
he's,
mind.
yeah, and he would be like, that was so good, that was the best show ever.
It was. Everybody's like, wow, who's that girl? I mean, where'd you find her? And she found us. And Sam is the same way. He's always got a smile on his face. What I thought was really good is when he first came into this studio with the show about sexual thoughts and how it's in your mind.
Sex.
About
Just
sex in general.
How it works, the neurology of it. Yeah. That was
How it works.
How it works. Well, no demos.
I'm taking notes.
No demonstrations.
No demonstrations.
I'll leave the room right now.
No, it was just interesting. That was, to me, that right there clobbered everybody.
Yeah.
Which means it, boom. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, it just caught everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Good shows like this, and it puts out to the community. And then we also do for the Food Bank of the Rockies, we did a month-long fundraising series for it. The other stations caught on and said, we're going to do that too. So with that and everything combined, the Food Bank of the Rockies got, boom.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They got some
Yeah.
big stuff out of this.
I think, you know, from a lot of this is there's a lot of innovation during the COVID.
Yes.
During the pandemic, there's
What
a lot
would
of
you call it? You know how
innovation.
you said, okay, they got COVID, they got the coronavirus. I don't like that one because it makes you not want to drink the beer anymore. We got the corona. And then you got COVID-19 and all this stuff. It's like, man, I'm going to go get me some COVID-20 for my drug dealer. I don't know if he's got any more. You know, it's like, that's what it sounds like, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I was always a Dos Equis guy.
Dos Equis, please. Dos Equis.
The green one, not the yellow. But what do we call it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I mean, well, another doc pointed out to me, and I kind of he said, you know, you don't call it COVID because it's not a disease.
Right.
And words are important in how we're using them, and I think we're finding that more and more, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement happening and how we're phrasing things, how we're talking to people. So words are critical. Words are super important. So, you know, first of all, coronavirus is not a disease. So I think that's kind of I think it's a mislabel.
Yes, that's what I think.
And just calling it calling it the coronavirus, calling it the Rona, as some people like to call it.
Or piojos in Spanish.
Exactly.
Bugs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you just got it, and that's kind of the scary part too. Talking about I think in the social wellness piece, is you think about another big C disease, cancer, and you say when you tell somebody you have cancer, it's like watching the energy drain from their body.
Wow.
I mean, scary, and there's so much fear behind that, which I think is a big piece of the social wellness aspect. Is again being together versus being separate.
Yeah.
Right. And how fear can drive everybody away. Talk about putting a mask on and staying away from each other and all this distancing, both physically, mentally, emotionally.
What is the 6 feet thing? Because I heard on the news, I told my wife, I says, I heard on the news that they want us to stay 75 feet away. So I come with a ruler, told her 75 feet, honey. She really got upset. I don't know why.
So you mad about that?
Yeah.
As long as you get her a new place to live in, I think she'll be fine.
She
right?
threw me out in the doghouse. I had to even broadcast out of the doghouse. I didn't want to see that.
Boneyard Radio.
I did a broadcast out of the doghouse. I did. I was having a blast. I think you guys probably missed it.
The other aspect of social wellness, just make good of any situation, apparently.
That's right.
So
I'm not afraid. You know, it's like nothing scares me. It really doesn't. I mean, I've lived through the N1, H1N1,
Yeah.
the Ebola,
We were in Dallas for the Ebola.
West Nile virus.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for which bowl was it? Was it this turkey bowl or the?
The E-Bowl.
Oh, the Ebola. Is that like a saloon or what was it?
No, it's a
The
big
E-Bowl.
bowl. It's a really poorly designed bowl, like an E. No, I'm just kidding.
This is social wellness,
This is-
where we just clobber
Just-
at this really good.
chip away at it.
It's a great show. It's on social wellness. Come on, people, get a life out there.
Well, like you said, though, right, you've been through being poor, and it's
Yeah.
like
It's like-
for the people that have
I didn't know I
been-
was.
Right. Didn't know clue.
I still don't. You're poor, Henry. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like financially, but I mean, yeah, it's like you talk about you've been through the financial hardship of that, and then now getting over to get, like we talk a lot, getting basic needs met, and that's a big stressor for a lot of people. And sometimes people coming into our office, it's a big stressor.
I mean, for us, even when we first started our practice,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we were both in survival mode. That, you know, the drive to actually take care of ourselves, and then to even try and go out and socialize, that was a drain for us because we were in survival mode and
Mhm.
fear mode, and feeling like even if we had access to resources, it was hard for us to even reach out and say, I need some help. And it was interesting that when during times of struggles, we can either stay in that state of struggle and fear, or it takes more energy, like for you, Henry, to just say, well, I'm in this state, but I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna make it better, and so
I've been in
you
this
know,
state since I was young. I can't get out of it. No, but it's not that bad, but
yeah,
ever since I was young, I'd never wanted to work for anybody. And
Yeah.
I kind of hardly ever did until I went into certain areas
Mhm.
where they wove me in, and I thought, I don't know why they're getting me in here. I think I know why, but because I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go do this. And there's a lot of really nice things that I've got to do in life, and it's just unreal for me. And you look at some of the things I've got to do, and it's like it's just opened up my brain, my eyes. Social wellness comes into play in all of it.
Mhm.
And just like you say, people get afraid. And there's a story I always want to tell. One time I was working for RTD,
Mhm.
and I heard somebody talk about SOPs in one of their shows. I have to do SOPs. That's what I wrote. I went out and did SOPs for when we were putting up the trial line of 5.3 miles of light rails, short little line.
What's SOP? By the way?
Standard operating procedures. There was none.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm creating them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they made me like a Denver police officer, just give me a badge and everything. It was to protect me. Okay, all I'm going out there and doing is calculating to see who's really riding with tickets. And to protect me, I'd have to pull a badge out and say, may I see your ticket, may I see your ticket. So social distancing came into play here because I went downtown, I'm there, and they packed onto that light rail train. There was two of them. I couldn't fit in there, so I'm not going to go in there and try to check them like sardines.
Mhm.
This one gal was going to get onto, and she jumped off, and I jumped off when she did, and she's looking at me just like, because the way I looked, I guess it's the way I looked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next day, she's out there again, same thing happens. She jumps on the train, I get on, and I jump back, and she jumped off, and she's like, you can see the worry in her face. Is this guy following me? Well, I'm just doing my thing just to put together standard operating procedures, for the ticketing system. So the final day, she jumps on, and I jump on, and I kind of backed off. She sort of backed off. I said, I'm going to do it anyway. She decided, I'm staying on you. I'm not going to get off. So then I pull it out, but my back's to her. I pull my badge out, put it there, and we go check in fares. I see your fare, I see your fare. And I got up there, man, I see your fare. You can see the come out of her. And she was so disengaged. Like if I was her interpretation of me was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
As if how you guys know me here, where I'm joking. I can't do that. I couldn't do that there.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody! Hey, look at Denver police! Everybody off!
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
But it was just so interesting how these kind of things can cause social distancing. That right there was a perfect example of.
And there's so much more of that now.
Yes,
right
so much now. Everybody's
Yes.
doing that.
Mhm.
You walk up to them,
Mhm. I think it's also unfortunately masked upon just a lot of attacks versus just like having constructive conversations. Even on social media, there's a lot of attacks on each other versus
yes.
truly understanding, you know, if you took the time to understand why that woman, like for example,
I
maybe
did.
she's, oh yeah, so
I knew what she was. I knew what was wrong.
Yeah.
She was afraid.
Yeah, she was
And the way I
afraid.
looked, the way I dressed.
Yeah.
But I was dressed.
Right,
Really
and
nice,
it could be some
nice.
many other reasons why, right? Previous experiences,
Yes.
but lack of trust is I feel like the self-consciousness now in terms of social distancing and quarantines. There's that sense, and even protests. Now there's that sense of barrier, that bigger wall that we have, and you know, it puts us in a fear and fight-flight state that it kind of keeps us in that pattern.
Oh, like I was at the grocery store. This is a crazy story. And you know how there's some of the stuff is missing, or there's not enough of some of the goods there. And I was reaching up for, it was just a bottle of, it looked like, what I was looking for was some salsa, the last bottle up there. And so I reached up, and this older woman, much older than me.
She's like 300.
She's about 80, 81 years old, 82, something like that. And she grabbed it at the same time I did. And I yank it from her, I go, wait, ma'am. She yanks it out of my hand.
No, she did
It
not.
pushes me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Really?
fall down, and she starts grabbing my leg, just like I'm pulling your leg.
I was just like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no. But like you said,
Yeah.
there's a lot of this going on now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think social wellness is key now. And I like to have fun, no matter if people are out there with masks or not. I still have a blast, you know,
Yeah.
enjoying myself with or without the mask, you know. Or one thing I like to play around with the mask, I'll just go up to them. What, sir? Just messing around. And or slam your hand down, like, no, take off your mask. And then smiling real big at him.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, you know. Social wellness, I think, has to do with being happy, no matter what situation you're in.
I think, yeah, and the big part behind that is if you're internally, if you're satisfied, if you're happy with your own personal life, people can feel that, even if, you know, we did say about the importance of being able to see each other's faces, but with the masks, it's what energy you're emanating. I could tell a person if they're kind of like angry or, you know, isolated, right? Exactly. All of a sudden, your shoulders shrug up. Henry's a great demonstrating that. Earlier, I was checking in with Sam. He's just like.
Well, you shouldn't kiss them all up before you come into the show. They were in the back room over there. I go, you guys, really, you have a show to do. Just a second, Henry. It's passion right now. That's social wellness between these two.
That's that private wellness again.
I'm going to expose them.
That's why our marriage works.
I know that's true. You know, it's like, good guy. You know, I often wonder about that. People in social wellness, it goes back to that. People will get together and they really don't match, and they live a life of unhappiness. They go around grouchy, and I think they take it out and about to the other people around other people. You'll be around a person, you can feel their energy, like, whoa. You know, and even masked up, you can feel the energy.
Still feel it. Oh man,
Yes.
you're not hiding anything. And that's something I've noticed, like, previously in some of my energy states, and she's really good at picking up on it. It's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, nothing. In my head, I'm like, how the heck do you know something's wrong with me? Because it's like, I've got this guard up, and I'm like, these walls, like, oh, you don't know what's happening, and how perceptive some people can be about it.
Females are the queens of
Let
this
me
earth.
tell you.
They have so much power. Okay, I know you're a doctor and all, but I've got some experience.
Got some
I'm an
wisdom to
elder.
share.
There's some
I know.
wisdom here, dude. Oh, no, it's your show. I got carried away, sorry. We'll talk afterward.
Okay.
That's social.
So tell me what
work.
Jesus was like.
I used to babysit for him, right? I knew that.
Like she was talking about just a minute ago, it makes me think of one of my favorite sayings I love to tell people is like all these arguments and stuff are happening, and it's on social media or it's out in public, and people are mask shaming other people, and we don't know what's right and what's wrong. It's just the thing I always like to come back to is like, all right, do you want to be right or do you want to get it right? You know? It's like, and so many people just out there want to argue these particular points, and they're stuck in a certain way, and it's like, look, do you want to be right about this point, or do you want to get it right in the long run of whatever it's going to be? So it's like not being stuck and married to one particular point, one particular perspective.
Holding on to it.
Yeah, just hold it, regardless, no matter what it is. It's like, this is where I'm going to stand, regardless of what data shows up, regardless of what new perspectives are presented to me. I'm staying like this. all right, well, I mean, good luck trying to survive in an ever-changing world like you're talking about, where it's like, look, we've had to pivot our business and our life, and everything has to be able to shift and change because
Yes.
guess what? Life's dynamic. Life doesn't stay the same.
That's right.
Right. So it's like, hey, we've got to embrace new ways of being able to get together and socialize, whether that's on technology, whether that's possibly physically farther away, and who knows what'll shift and change.
Like with my wife, I was trying to go to 75 feet.
Exactly.
She didn't buy it.
Yeah. Well, the CDC just said now it's 100 feet.
Oh, it's 100
It's
feet.
100 feet.
You'll be outside the house, and she'll be inside.
That's fine. We'll be out there drinking beer. There we go. In social wellness, you have such a great show that even that's so catchy. Social wellness, and it's like you can almost create something all around that because so many people out there, like you say, they go down the street, they're flipping you off. I got flipped off real bad about a month ago. My car stalled at the stoplight. Nobody cares if your car stalls at the stoplight. You're blocking me.
It's great, get out of the way.
Yeah. And then, you know, it's like, Jesus, okay, everybody, you know, what the hell? I'm 100 years old. 100.
It's getting older by the moment.
Sam?
300. It just doubled.
No, Lynn.
You look great for 300. You see
I want to say all these things, but I can't. It's a family show.
It is.
It is?
Oh,
I can go there?
Yeah.
What's the vitamins that I take?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's a family show.
Just went over.
Sure it did, Lynn. Sure it did. Dr. Lynn. She's speaking on social wellness. Thank you for joining us here on the Dr. Lynn Show. Social wellness.
And you know, the big part is
Go ahead, take your time. Without a smile. Let's see if Sam, let's look at her and see if she can do this without a smile. This is social wellness.
Right here.
Right here.
Absolutely.
right here is it's just having fun
Yes.
and just not taking everything too seriously in the long run, just because we're so fortunate to be able to have each other.
Of course.
It's just like we're so fortunate to have clothes, so fortunate to do so many different things and still have access. And even though we don't have our parties, we don't have our usual summertime things, there's so many different ways to get creative.
Like when you're hungry, you want to eat, and you have to, make. What?
I don't know. I'm getting ready. I know something's coming.
You have to eat the hamburger helper without the hamburger, but it works. It's like, right?
Just get the helper. Man, I've been there.
Everybody's there. I'm at the point now. I just cut up cardboard boxes and mix it with hot water for the fiber. And you're still eating. I'm happy.
You need 25 to 30 grams a day.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
35 as you get older. So that's really important.
And in my case, 300 years old,
And that,
so
you probably need around 150.
14 boxes. Your show is really cool. I like being on here.
Oh, well, thank you. This is you bring in a lot of joy and laughter.
Yes, and that's what it's all about. I
And
really
it's-
love it.
And it's fun that we're finally able to team up and come
I know,
together.
it's our
on
That
this.
shows
was so
together.
cool. I thought you guys were
Yeah.
going to team up out of Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma is where they were going to broadcast out of. Sam brought on a show that was so well done. Sam, give us a little bit of feedback on that. Was good.
You liked it?
Yes, I thought, whoa. And then when it came out really nice. It really came out nice. I mean, we brought it into the studio. You went live on the air. Everything. It
Yeah.
was slick.
It was cool. It was really cool being able to just jump on and do that. And I mean, it's like you were running everything from here.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's the other cool part
That's the
about
technology part.
Yeah, the technology piece. It's like, man, we could
Yeah.
jump on and do this from anywhere.
If you
Yes.
can imagine, so pandemic where it felt like everything was shut down, and we're not going to get into the economic aspect of things being hit, but as far as the long run too, in terms of still being able to conduct businesses from afar, people
Yes.
are realizing, hey, we can run our business, we can like remotely or even telehealth, even though many clinics or practices were closed. They're still able. Telemedicine now is a really big deal in terms of having that accessibility, and people, especially who struggle with anxiety and depression, really needing access to health professionals. They could still do that through Zoom and Doxy and
Yeah.
so many different apps and stuff.
And telehealth comes in real handy because my friend had an STD, and the doctor said, "I'm going to keep zooming in. I can't see nothing." No, I'm sorry, I have to go there. I'm sorry you invited me in here. I'm sorry.
You needed to bring comments to make us laugh and just. I think my personality tends to be more serious when we do shows, so I'm learning a lot from Henry now.
Light as a feather. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, they use feathers too. You can use feathers. I don't know if you ever use feathers. And
Might be
we're not
too-
talking about. We're not talking. Wait a minute. You went somewhere else.
That
I'm sorry.
comes later.
Yeah.
That's back on that sex show we talked about.
Yes, that was a great
episode
show.
one.
You got to redo that.
Yeah.
Because when you first did it, everybody told me this about you. You're a little stiff.
Yeah, absolutely. First show on the radio? Yeah. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah. Say he was.
That Viagra right before the show got stuck in my throat?
Yeah. Yeah. Stiff. Sorry, man. We're sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Apologize to your queen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for coming on here and ruining the show.
No.
But what would be cool, I was thinking,
Yeah,
about,
we're
I was
cool.
thinking about this too. We talked about earlier, the measuring stick in our society is money, right? I think it would be really cool if one of the silver linings out of this whole thing is instead of, hey, we're all measuring up like, hey, how rich are you? That's your measurement of success.
Mm-hmm.
To, hey, how connected are you to other people? How much in the community are you giving back? Kind of like yourself.
Runs through my mind.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, when you say that, how connected, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very wealthy with connections.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people I would know, and you're going to see in these new. We showed you one back there. There's a forum coming up, and there's some big names in there.
Yeah.
And it's like there was one I was trying to talk him into. It was really interesting. He told me, "Well, I don't know. I'll let you know." The next day, I says, "You're not going to tell me now." And he says, I know he didn't respond, so I did it the third day. Okay, listen. You're going to see us. You're going to do this. We're going to get this done.
Yeah.
And you're going to like it. And he said, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, hard.
Yeah, so, and we got him in. So he's going to be on the show. And it's a big forum. And you did one about racial inequalities and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was really well done. And you had my attention like, whoa. It's your friend?
Yeah, Ying. She's an activist.
Now, she don't look like somebody I know you do. So you can't say that about your hair and all that kind of stuff. And so she was really good. She had it down. And so,
Yeah.
like, you listen to this, and it's coming from a different point of view and how well you guys put it together. You had it down. I mean, it was just go. It was, wow.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Thank you.
That was really interesting. How did you dream that up? You thought that would be a good time to put it out as what's going on now?
Well, as far as it goes, like, I guess this ties into social wellness. Is during times where we're like right now, I'm struggling in terms of I'm obviously Asian American, and
You're
my
not.
gosh,
Oh,
right?
God.
Big surprise.
Is she said?
Yeah.
I think so. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I'm
Yeah.
She's just
Thanks.
like trying to
Oh
pull
my
my leg like
gosh.
that lady in the grocery store.
just like that lady.
And I think this is times to be able to get connected
You're
in
a
a sense
lucky
of,
guy,
in a sense of.
though.
Shh, I'm telling my story, guys. And it's, I think I'm really grateful because I've used Facebook, I've used social media in this platform in a sense that, yeah, there's times where I get into the poor habit of mindlessly scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and I have to be very conscious about that. But the other aspect in terms of how it's really supported me is also being able to reach out to friends like Yang and learn more about what she knows, because I'm, it's like I'm social wellness or even just racial identity. Those are not topics that I'm familiar or even comfortable in having a conversation with. But there's so many. I'm so grateful because there's friends and peers who's willing to open up and say, let's have a conversation. I'll hold space for your vulnerabilities and allow yourself to voice yourself. And I think that's where the show spawned. That it's just like, I think there's a lot of people who want to just know that there's a safe space to have a conversation, or to know that there are like-minded people that are there to support and just to promote some sort of conversation in your own personal lives. And that's where we started having that for that show, and it ties back into increasing resourcefulness or resilience. So
And I like the way you put that, but when I look at people,
Mhm.
I was telling you, you look like a friend of mine, like you say, you hear that a lot. But,
yeah.
how I see everybody is with beauty. And so if I see somebody and their aura and something about them, I look at everybody at an angle. It's like, God, that person's got such beauty about him. You know, there's something about him. Like with Charlie, you know, I've seen something about him and look at his show. He didn't ever anticipate this. He never thought this show was going to just, boom, get so big. And like you both your show, well, now it's a combined show. You guys, that was so smart to do that. Combine it as one name, and promoting it all, and then you're bringing in such nice people as Yang and social wellness. That's striking. And social wellness means a lot right now. And you guys are doing this show, and you invited me, and I was humbled. I was like, "Woo, yeah!"
Totally, he just comes marching in and just marches in and sits down.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
To spend time with both you guys because you're young, you're vibrant, you're smart. And the intelligence that comes off both of you is food for me, food for my thoughts.
Oh,
and
thank you.
That's what I like. So.
Thank you. And I guess a good awareness to have too is just like, how do you see people? Do you see people through beauty and like?
It's just strictly beauty. It's not color or anything.
Yeah.
Like if somebody say, you're looking at me like, well, you stare at me because I'm black. I'm sorry, I'm colorblind. What do you say?
Yeah.
You know? One time I made a mistake. This is also social wellness. I call my sons my boys. These are my boys. And so I was at I forgot we were saying at the I'm always at the grocery store.
He likes to eat.
Yeah, I do.
Who doesn't?
Or the liquor store.
Or the liquor
store. So the gal's with her sons there, and I said, "Oh, well, you really have some cute boys." Well, we call them our boys, you know, like that's not a good thing to say in the black community. It's certain people. Like back in the day, they say, "Hey, boy," that kind of stuff. All that, and then not too long ago, about 3-4 years ago, we heard a guy say, "Man, that was a colored man." I thought, well, I haven't heard that in years. And so you hear all these things, and it's the bred in racism that has caused all this, the grief, and then you see it's surfacing. Now, I've lived a long time, 150 years times 2, that's 300 years.
Call him up on
Well,
450 years.
Yes, there we go.
It's going up. And so I got to see Bobby Kennedy. I got to see Robert, or what's his name, Kennedy? The other one.
JFK.
JFK. Watched them both get assassinated. I watched Martin Luther King get assassinated. They were saying the same things back then.
Right.
And it continued on into the 70s. Same thing. They had the Cesar Chavez's. They had the Court Gonzalez's, and then they moved into the 80s. Same thing. Freedom, freedom. They march for our rights. And here we are in 2020. Now, what the heck? 50 years later, they're still saying the same thing. Why? To me, I feel like nothing has really changed. Now it's going to change, I think, because of the pandemic is combined with it. There's no choice.
Yeah.
There is no choice. You can't get away from me. I'm black, I'm white, I'm Caucasian, I'm this, I'm that, get away from, you can't do that because everybody needs everybody now. Because without everybody being together as one, as a community, as a whole, we're not going to survive.
100%. And I think finally you have a generation, for as much as millennials take a beating on a lot of this stuff,
yes.
You finally have a generation that's willing to do the work and not put up with it anymore.
Right.
You know, and that's what
because
makes
it's insanity.
It is.
It's like, wait a minute, something wrong with this picture.
Right. 100%.
Are you really Asian American? Now, why did they say that? Asian? Did you say Asian or?
Yeah, Asian or Chinese American. I said Chinese. I said Asian
well, why
American.
Why did they say that?
Why do I? You know, I think part of it is because I identify as being born in the U.S. versus like Chinese, I guess.
I would say you're more like an American. You're a very beautiful person inside and out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And because I said you look like my friend. No, it's not because you're Chinese and you have black hair. One black hair.
I think Henry keeps bringing it up because
that hurt my feelings. She thinks I don't have feelings. I'm 475, 500 years old.
That was my response, because I tend to get that when people are like, "You remind me of a friend." Yeah, and I guess that's a really good awareness to have, is patterns that we have that maybe limit our perspectives.
What did you think I was?
I mean, I knew.
As soon as I opened up my mouth, right? He's a nut. He got loose from
crazy.
He's a Looney Tune.
He's gotta be. How they let him loose?
Yeah.
And he's still wearing that ankle bracelet for the jail.
Except it's more
She
high
looked,
tech
she
now.
took a look. She took a look.
No,
She-
except
did
it's
you
more
see her
high
take a
tech
look?
now. It's
Sam
like a
was
machine,
definitely
like
looking.
an electric cuff.
Just wondering when we're gonna microchip this guy.
Well, microchips are not far from
Right,
all of
apparently.
us. Yeah.
Nobody's microchipping me.
No. How about a shock collar?
I've had those before.
I bet you.
Let's talk about the sexual show.
We got,
here.
well, we got
Excuse
3
us.
minutes left.
Oh, gosh.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, we'll do that next week. We need a full hour. We got 3
Yeah, we'll
minutes
do the
left.
full hour,
Yeah.
and we're going to
We'll
talk
bring
about
Henry in.
sex, social
Be
wellness.
sure to tune in.
That one will not be a
Social
family
wellness.
show. So 3 minutes left. We've been talking about this. I mean, let's give a couple of, I guess, I don't know, what are some take-home points? What are some things people could do to move forward and be more socially well?
I think.
Go ahead. Stop copying me.
We're on
Henry,
the
you
same
go
vibe,
first.
girl. We're on the same
You go
vibe.
first, Henry.
As
I have
say-
something for that, and I'll say it off air. When
Okay. Go ahead.
That looks very serious
I
there.
know. It's very serious.
I don't know what to say. I'm 650 years old now.
Well, you've had a lot of time on this planet, so surely.
You're actually a century old now.
A century.
No, it's a century is a
A
thousand.
century is 100.
100. Dang it! I don't know. Oh my
Millennia
God,
is
millennia.
I would
the
say, you know,
millennia.
with
Oh my
this
goodness, I don't
beautiful
know.
show that these two doctors of this show, the show is really cool. I really like it. I mean, I really admire them. They both have brought some great stuff to the table here. Social wellness, I think. Keep doing what you're doing. Go along with it, but remember, don't let it build up inside of you because it really doesn't mean anything. Stay happy and stay, fed. Make sure you get food in your system.
Yeah.
That's critical.
Healthy, good foods.
Very good, healthy food.
Yes, wholesome foods.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And keep your mind sharp and get plenty of exercise. Whether you go for walks in the park, bicycling, chasing the kid up and down the street, having water fights, that's fun. I love balloon water fights. That's fun. So if you can do something like that, go swimming, do something. But just really don't worry about it all because worry is a waste of time.
That's a good one. And I think from my own experience too is during this time, being able to collaborate, finding a project that maybe you've always been wanting to do and not being afraid to actually do it, to act on it. For instance, this radio show wouldn't have happened had I not started collaborating with Taste Life Nutrition's radio host, Nikki Burnett, in terms of putting together a health program online to support people and making changes and resetting their mind, and just the continual checking in with each other. We've grown to know each other, become friends, and this became a thing, radio. So finding projects that actually make you excited and not being afraid to step outside your comfort zone to develop it and having fun with that. How about yourself, Dr. Sam? Anything that you'd like to add on to social wellness too?
Yeah, I'd say challenge yourself to try and make new friends. I mean, like for me as an adult, it's harder to make friends now than I think ever before in my life. Because I mean, as a kid, it's like, hey, you just go up to give the ball on the playground. Hey, you want to play? And then boom, they start playing.
That's
right?
true. Kiddos are like, you want to be my friend? And now as we're older, it's harder. Yes, Henry?
Really bad. Maybe
Okay.
excuse.
Yes. Okay. Okay, sounds good. So that was Henry. It was a pleasure to be able to have him as a guest. And
Absolutely.
and you saying in that on top of that, I didn't mean to interrupt too.
No, it's fine. So I'd say just challenge yourself to go out and, again, meet new people and try and make new friends. Because, again, I think the new social currency going forward is not, or the new currency going forward is going to be social currency. It's not going to be financial. It's going to be connections and knowing people and, really put the measuring stick in your life, not at your bank account, but in who you're connected to and who you know. And the vision I always had in college was, you write that obituary and you look at your funeral, and it's like, how many people are showing up at your funeral?
Yeah, and it's really about what they remember you for too in your obituary too, right? It's about how authentic are you in living your life, meaning, are you being honest with your own personal struggles, a willingness to perhaps find support during times of struggle, looking to friends and family that can really lift you up rather than the people that break you down, and those are really important aspects. And I think when you're needing help, don't be afraid to ask for help.
There you go. It's a good thing to end on. Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. This was a fun show. So thank you, Henry, for joining us as well today. And I'm grateful to have Dr. Sam, my partner in crime, join me. And we'll see you all next Friday. What's on for next Friday?
Next Friday, I believe we're going to have my good friend Dr. Ryan Marchman coming on talking about animal chiropractic.
He was just adjusting a rooster today, by the way.
Yeah.
He just posted on Facebook he was adjusting a rooster. So it's going to be amazing to be able to have this guy on the show. He adjusts all animals, horses, roosters.
Everything. Something with 4 legs, some things with 2. So
he's
it'll be
amazing.
Fun.
Yes.
So this has been the Wild and Precious Optimal Living radio show. So again, I always like to sign off with the one question. Do you want to do it this time? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? See you next week. Take care.